All right. Hey guys. Hey. Come on in and join me if you can. If not, make sure that you hit up the replay. All right. So, listen, guys, it's your girl, Nakia P. Evans, and I just wanted to come on here and talk with you just for a little bit. Um, if you missed it, we had an amazing show about an hour ago with special guest Nicole Henderson, and she spoke on life after divorce. And while she was talking, I wrote down a couple of things because some of the things that she mentioned in there was things that I could relate to, not as a woman that's been married or anything like that, but just on as far as working on self, right? Working on self. And I was sitting here and just, writing some notes and looking back at some of the things that I've taken in from therapy and things like that. And I wanted to come on and encourage you to get your butt up and continue fighting for you. Okay? Get your butt up and continue fighting for you. Listen, life takes like so many turns, right? Like things happen unexpected. We go through things unexpectedly. We lose people, people change on us. Like so many things happen in life, right? And I totally understand feeling like you have literally smacked rock bottom. I mean, when you feel like you just been falling and falling and you finally like your face hits the pavement, like that hurt feeling, like, oh my gosh. I understand what that feels like. And I wanted to come and encourage you to get your butt up and keep fighting for you. You have to fight for you. Fight past the BS, right? You gotta fight past the emotions. You have to fight past those feelings of wanting to give up, of wanting to quit. I shared with somebody today that I've come so close to like literally throwing in the towel. And sometimes we feel like that, right? Like sometimes we get in these modes where things ain't clicking, things ain't working. It seems like we're just all in this thing by ourselves, right? And I wanted you to hear it from a girl who is still in her healing process, still dealing, still going through, that you can get up and you totally can keep fighting. Okay? Fight past those feelings of wanting to give up. We have no time to be out here giving up. I know what it feels like. Trust me, there are days that your girl got to fight her way through. You know what I'm saying? You literally sometimes feel like you are in a combat fight. You know what I'm saying? Like you're fighting past those feelings, you're fighting past that hurt, you're fighting past the denial within self, right? Because we do that. Let's be honest. We deny, we lie to ourselves sometimes when we're dealing with traumatic experiences, when we're dealing with a lot of pain. We will try to cover it up. We will try to handle it in the most easiest way, right? But I'm gonna tell you something that, this little goofy nerd girl learned, right? Is that me fighting that way didn't necessarily help me. You know what I'm saying? The covering up, the sweeping under the rug, oh, I'm just going to lay it in God's hands and keep on moving. I couldn't deal like that. Like that wasn't healing for me. That wasn't something that, worked for me. Like your girl felt like her face hit the pavement hard. You know what I mean? Like hard, broken nose, swollen eyes, like everything. Like that's what I felt like. And even this morning, I posted a picture, happy Thursday, but nobody knew that that was a struggle within itself. Me getting up and moving this morning was a struggle and a fight itself. But the one thing that I've learned and the one thing that I really take in account for is that how I feel on the days that I do get up and fight, right? Because it could have easily been a day where, hey, we could have stayed in the bed, we could have been in stop mode, we could have been in whatever type of mode, right? But even through that fight of getting up and pushing through, you celebrate yourself, right? I mean, that's what I do. I celebrate myself. I've gotten to the point where I celebrate. I'd be like, "Ooh, girl, it's 11 o'clock in the morning. You did that, girl. You did that. You was still up. You was still moving. You still out here fighting." And you have to learn to celebrate yourself. You know what I'm saying? I get that. I'm trying to keep my words nice, y'all. I get that, things happen. Life can be a whole beat, 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 right? It can. And sometimes, like fighting through those feelings, fighting through that depression, fighting through that anxiety, fighting through the PTSD, fighting against the negativity that's in your head, the negativity that stems in your body, like that's, I understand that, right? Like that's hard. I totally get that. But baby, you got up and you pushed through today. Okay? Like we about to hit, like it's nighttime. Like some of us, well, I know I am. We about to go to bed. Like we made it through today. So celebrate yourself. And let me tell you something. And when you feel like you're down again, get your butt up and keep pushing. Keep pushing. Push past that pain. Push past those feelings, push past that negativity. Listen, I shared this before, and I talk about like my journeys with therapy. I talk about my personal journey because I want you to know that if you're feeling like your face hit the pavement, like I did, that you're not out here by yourself. Right? Like you're not out here by yourself. There are people out here that totally understand how you feel. Now, is everybody up to share and talk about that and give all intimate details and stuff like that? Maybe not. But me sharing is also a form of therapy for me because I get to see that I ain't out here by myself. You know what I'm saying? I get to see that there are other women who have been here and they can give input on how they got out, right? I can see, the work that I am doing myself because I'm learning to celebrate and everything. So my celebration today was you got up out that bed, you know what I'm saying? You accomplished some things off your to-do list. May not have been everything, but you did it, right? You showed up to your show tonight. You did that show. And girl, you doing something else. And you got to learn to celebrate that and be happy with that, right? Another thing, guys, is that you got to be honest with yourself. And as I shared on my show earlier, that sometimes that within itself can be the hardest thing that we can do because now you got to look at self and you got to be real with self and you have to literally, right? Be honest with yourself. And a lot of times we don't want to do that. We want to pick A, B, C, D, F, G, X, Y, Z, all of that to put blame and stuff on. But at some point, we have to recognize, right, that we made certain choices, right? We didn't plan for things to go the way that they did, but we did make a choice, right? We have to be honest with ourselves on when things are hurting and how we set our boundaries, right? So for me, coming out of a domestic violence relationship where your girl was beaten and stabbed, um, I had to learn to be honest with myself. And that wasn't a good thing, right? Because I completely just wanted to say, well, he did this and he did that. And yes, he did. But I also had to take into account that I went back knowing what he was already doing. Right. And I had to be honest with that because I felt like if I couldn't be honest with myself on that, then that's going to allow me to continue in situations that I don't want to be in, that I don't need to be in. Honesty with yourself is the greatest thing. It may be the hardest, but it's the greatest thing. You see what I'm saying? It is absolutely the greatest thing. We have to learn to be honest with ourselves on where we are, right? So you know that your girl is completely big. In case y'all didn't see it, I got my mental health matter shirt on today, right? If you want a shirt, make sure you go go to my page, go to my profile, and scroll down, and I have the link. But if you want shirts, definitely hit your girl up. But here's the thing, guys. You have to be honest with yourself, right? And understand where you are. So for me, coming out of that situation, I knew that I wasn't good. I knew that I wasn't good. I tried to act like I was good. I tried to pretend like I was good, but I wasn't. And I had to be responsible enough and mature enough to understand, girl, you need some help, right? Because I'm not a violent person. I'm a Pisces. You come at me crooked, I'm gonna show you something. But but here's the thing. I'm not the type of person that causes a whole lot of conflict. I do not like that environment. And so I had to be honest with myself and say, okay, girl, like you knew this, right? You know that this isn't good. And even when you got away, you went back, right? You went back. And when you went back, it got worse, right? And I had to be real about that. And guys, let me tell you that that was one of the hardest things that I had to do for me, right? And I had to learn that this fight right here, this fight that I'm in on rediscovering myself or understanding myself, the journey to love myself again. Because, yes, that is a whole nother thing, right? I'm coming out of this abusive relationship with now permanent scars on me that I can't change. Right. And so it was a whole process to start loving this body again, loving me again. Right. I tell people all the time this fight is personal. This is personal. You got to fight. Like this thing is absolutely personal, right? You got to. Because if not, we just going to sit, we allow when you become honest with yourself and you take this fight as a personal fight, right? And you start to understand, listen, there's some things that I need to change here. There's some environments that I can no longer be a part of. There's some people that I can no longer have in my company because it is unhealthy for me, right? At the end of the day, peace is everything. You know what I'm saying? Like I used to get caught up in like, oh my goodness, nobody here and there's nobody there. Let me tell you something. My peace is everything to me. Okay. Like people say like it's hard to come over here now because you'll knock on the door and I'll be sitting in my living room right there by the door, TV loud, my blinds be open. But baby, like, no. My peace means everything. I don't if you're a friend, associate, if you ain't hit me up and tell me you coming, and baby, you just at a loss, right? I want you to understand that this fight for you is personal, right? That this fight for you, this journey that you're on to healing, to self-discovery, whatever you want to call it, right? I want you to understand that this thing is personal. Now, I'm a single mom. I have a daughter. She's 18. She like grown. She thinks she grown. But I had to also understand that this time, baby, I can't get up for you. And it's no disrespect to her. It's just that sometimes we'll go through life and be like, hey, I got to do this for my kids. I got to do this for this person. I got to do this for this person. And we forget about this. I'm no good to anybody if I'm not taking care of me first. You see what I'm saying? So when I say that this fight is personal, this thing is personal because in order to be the best mom that I can be, in order for me to be the best entrepreneur that I can be, and the best woman that I can be, I mean, like, like all of that, I understand that this thing is personal. So because it's personal, I have to act accordingly. No, any and everybody can't come in my space. No, I'm not going to take care of ourselves in every capacity. You understand? In every single capacity, we have to make sure that we are taking care of ourselves. And that means mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally, all of that. All of that. Now, those of you who follow me, you see my posts, and you'll see that I'm like real big on mental health, right? And I'm big on mental health because your girl is in the middle of dealing with mental illness, right? Like, basically, right? Of course, that's the whole point. So, for me, I understand how important it is to make sure that I'm getting this checked out, right? I try to make it important that I do the homework that is giving, that I'm being honest with myself on every step and saying, this is what you need to do. These are not the people you need to be around. This is not the environment that you need to be around. And your peace is everything, right? Everything. Okay. We have no time to just be sitting and allowing other things, you know what I'm saying? The depression that we're dealing with, the PTSD, the anxiety, or whatever else it is, to allow us to stay stuck in a place, right? We can't do that. Now, do I understand that the fight to get up and push is hard? Baby, please believe me, I do. Okay? I totally, totally do. But the one thing that I keep telling myself, this fight is personal. This is personal, right? I have to tell myself that this right here, this is personal. So yeah, Kia, you may not feel like getting up out that bed, but girl, you better get up. And when I get up and I make my bed, I'm like, you a bad one. You did that, girl. You did that. And to some people, they may not understand that. Some people may find that whatever. And I mean, baby, if you've made it out your healing journey, then please go ahead and exit left because this ain't for you. Okay. If you've already made it to your rainbow and sunshines, this ain't for you. All right. But for those of us that understand how hard it is to get up out the bed, how hard it is to push daily activities, daily requirements, then you understand that, baby, when you do something, celebrate yourself. And I promise it gets easier and easier and easier, right? It does. There are days that I can just jump up and be like, hey, you know what I'm saying? And then there's days that I just kind of drag about and be like, I'm not feeling this today. And one thing that my therapist taught me is that, Wednesdays is my therapy day. I do therapy on Wednesdays. And one thing that she told me is when you do it, celebrate yourself. When you're having a hard day, ask yourself, what will it take to change my day? Whether that's music, whether that's you need to go do some stretches, go take a run, like I don't know. Whatever works for you, right? So for me, when I do get up out the bed, I go for a walk. I put my mask on. I be full outside, but I still walk around with my mask on. People be looking at me like I'm crazy. I don't trust people. But, I walk, I take a walk, my mask on. Some days I'll have music in my ear and some days I don't. I just want to walk. I just want to connect to the earth, the environment. Like I want to connect to that peace until it gets noisy outside, all right? But that helps me going, right? There are other mornings that I'm feeling down and I may be angry. So then your girl gets on and turn on that Fit On app and start working these muscles. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get this body right before the summer. Okay. Um, Reading books, journaling. Journaling has been everything to me. And I've learned to write out my negative thoughts, my positive thoughts, all of that, and allow myself to express and release. Listen, guys, we've become so accustomed to this whole thing where we act like we have to keep our mouth shut, right? Like we got to keep quiet. We got to keep on going through life. Like nobody cares if they hurt us. Nobody cares if they did this. Nobody cares how we feel. I don't do that no more. I speak my mind. And if I'm not able to speak my mind to you or my feelings to you, then you're really not a safe space for me, right? If someone comes to me and I automatically just dodge what they have to say, then I wouldn't be a safe space for someone else. You see? But I'm gonna tell you something about going through and when you start healing, you're able to connect to people on a whole different level. You know what I'm saying? Because before I went through all this, I can say that your girl was a little cocky. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll just be like, ain't whatever. Okay, get over it. Take it to God. Do this, do that, pray about it. believe, keep on moving. And then now it's a little different, right? Because I've experienced both sides of this thing. And so it's like, hmm, I get it. I understand. And baby, you can make it. You can do it. It's okay. I get the toughness. You know what I'm saying? I get the battle. I get the daily fight. Like I totally, totally get it. It opens your eyes to something different. And that's why sometimes like I be asking people, like when they be like, hey, I prayed and instantly, and I be like, I need to know what prayers you prayed, because it's no instant over here. Like your girl is battling. You know what I'm saying? Like, what you mean? So I want y'all to know that when I come on here and I'm sharing my stories and I'm sharing with you how I feel, I am hoping that it is touching someone, that is reaching someone, and that someone knows that they're not in this journey by themselves, right? That the feelings that you feel are not feelings that are completely unknown. A lot of us just don't like talking about it. You know what I'm saying? Um, but as my therapist said, you only need to reach one. That's it. You only need to reach one. And it creates a ripple effect, right? Because that one person can reach another person, and that person can reach another, and it keeps on going. I'm not out here for a whole bunch of people. I'm only out here for those that are in the process like me. Okay. And, like I say all the time, if you already reached your sunshine and rainbows, then go ahead and stay over there with your sunshine and rainbows. And, I'm going to continue my process. But listen, do not allow anyone, and I do mean anyone, to ever tell you how your process should be. You see what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, baby, like you're in this fight. You know what I'm saying? And I get it. I totally get it. I get that you may have people surrounding you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get that you may have people that are, within your company. You know what I'm saying? And they feel like they're dealing with a lot as well. I totally get that. But at the end of the day, baby, it is you that's in the middle of this thing. You see what I'm saying? They may be on the outside and they may get some rumble and tumble. Yes. But you are in the middle of it. And so it is up to you to decide what it is that you want to do. You see what I'm saying? You have to decide. You have to be honest with yourself and ask yourself if you really want this. Can do you really want this? Do you really want to fight towards your healing, or you just want it to just be like magically? Of course, a lot of us would say a snap at a finger, right? And I felt like that at one time too. I literally wanted. I had gotten to the point where I just wanted something to just come and happen. Like, just take it all away. Like, get it away from me. Just take it and push it away, right? That's what I wanted. And I learned that it doesn't work that way. I mean, not for me. For the instantly people, I'm gonna ask y'all like what kind of prayers y'all be praying and whatnot. But for me, it just didn't work that way for me, right? And I had to learn that, you know what? If it was an instant for me, I wouldn't have taken the gems and the nuggets that I'm taking from this process. You know what I'm saying? Like I would have continued to be possibly the Kia that I was before. And you know what's crazy? What's so crazy about it is that there are times that I miss the old Kia, right? Like I miss that Kia. And that's because I've been so comfortable knowing her. You know what I'm saying? I've been comfortable being her. But even though that this process is hard, this fight is hard, this battle is hard, like this journey within itself is hard, right? I'm learning to appreciate the journey. You see what I'm saying? Like I'm learning to appreciate taking the things that have been weighing me for years off, releasing and letting it go, right? No longer carrying it. And that's why I say you got to get back up and fight. Baby, sweeping this stuff under the rug ain't gonna help nobody. It just shushes it for a little bit. That's it. It shushes. And then all of a sudden, it can come back, right? Here I am, 37 years old, not knowing that I was still carrying trauma from when I was an 8-year-old girl when I was sexually assaulted. I did not realize that. Because when I was in relationships with people, it's like, hey, You can't touch me like that. You can't do that. You too close. You know what I'm saying? I had to realize that there was a lot of things that I was still carrying, even though I wasn't aware of it. I thought, hey, that's just me. I don't like this, right? But then I had to take the time to understand why I don't like it, right? Why don't I like that? Why is someone putting their hands on me a certain way or a certain place? Why does that make me uncomfortable? And so I had to go back and I had to peel, right? And I don't know what people think that therapy is. I don't know if they think that therapy is like somebody yelling at you and screaming. Usually I'm the one that's doing the yelling. you know just like I'm sitting here on my computer talking to you, this is how I talk to my therapist. I mean, a little bit more hollering and yelling sometimes, but this is how it is for me. And I've learned that when I'm able to release, right, I'm able to feel those emotions, understand why I'm having these emotions, why am I feeling this way, and what is it that I need to do to stop feeling this way, right? Like, do we think about that? Like, do we take time to actually analyze ourselves? Right? I mean, I'm an out the box thinker. Like, I always think something. You could tell me one thing, and I promise you, the way that my mind works, I'm gonna loop it all the way back around and try to figure out where you came with that from. You know what I'm saying? But that's just me. I've always been an out the box thinker. I do not like thinking contained like some people. I can't work well that way. But do we ever take time to actually think why we feel uncomfortable, why certain things bother us? Or do we just take that as, oh, that's just me, right? So for me, I'm thinking, oh, that's just me. I don't like it. It's just me. But then I had to learn that, baby, you feel that way because you've been through some things, and you still carrying trauma from an 8-year-old girl, and you're 37, about to be 38 in a couple of weeks. Like, no, baby, we can't do that. And so when I say fight, like get your butt up and keep on fighting for you, this is what I'm talking about, right? This is what I'm talking about. When you understand that, hey, I don't know why I do this, or hey, like something's wrong here. And let me correct y'all, okay? Because a lot of people get a whole lot of deepness up in this. When I say something is wrong, people take that in negatively, and they just go off the hinges with it and do the whole Bible verses thing. We're not doing that, okay? When I say when you realize that something is wrong, right? That means you realize that there's some internal work that you need to do for you. Okay. That means that there's some internal work that you need to do for you. There's things in here, there's things here that you need to release, right? We may not get all the answers to everything. We may not get the apologies that we are deserved, right? And I used to be that girl. I used to sit there like girl, I'm petty. First of all, I can be petty. I'm like the petty queen when I want to be the petty queen. But it's like I used to sit there and I used to wait for people to apologize when you did me wrong and be angry. Like, you didn't apologize. You hurt me. You did this, and you ain't say this. You ain't do nothing. And I had to get to a point where, baby, they ain't even like half of the time they're not even worth it. You know what I'm saying? That apology, what is that apology going to do for me? Like, the hurt is there. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is that going to do? What is that going to fix? Is that going to solve what I'm feeling? With the apologies, it didn't. Without the apologies, it didn't. So it was like, okay, so here's some things that we need to work on. You need to work on you. And a lot of us take that in a negative aspect, and it's not negative at all, right? Like, it's not negative at all. It is literally just being honest with you. So when I say it, because people give me like little snore looks, and I'm like, yeah, I needed more help. So that's what I'm in therapy, and people be like, eh. And it's like, don't do me. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't do me. How about you be honest with yourself? And how about you just do what you need to do for you? When you focus on you and I focus on me, we just so much more happy people, right? So much more happier. Because why? is the question, right? Like, why do we have to do that? I'm all for healing. I'm all for rediscovering yourself. I'm all for living authentically. Okay. And I'm not here to tell you who you need to be praying to, who you need to be worshiping. I'm not doing that. I do not, I'm not gonna do that. What I'm gonna tell you, and before y'all get all deep and Christianal, let me explain. All of my following are not Christians, and I'm not here on a religious base. You understand? I'm not here for that. I am here for people healing, however they need to heal. So it is not my business who you pray to. It is not my business who you worship. That is not my business. Okay. My whole thing is, baby, I just want you to heal. I want you to smile. I want you to enjoy your process, whatever that process is, because your process is not going to look like mine. My process isn't going to be yours. We all ventured through different things. And just because you may find someone who went through the same thing as you, that doesn't mean that it affected them the same way it affected you, or that it affected them. You know what I'm saying? Or it didn't affect them the way that it affected you. So we have to understand that, because sometimes we get so consumed with thinking that, hey, I've been through this, so I know XYZ. And baby, you only know XYZ for you. For you. Now, can your process, by sharing your process, help others? Absolutely. But for me to come on and tell you number one, number two, number three, number four, number five, like these are the things that you need to do. You need to pray to this person. You need to do this. You need to do that. I can't do that. I can't. And I'm not, right? I'm here to tell you that you got to be honest with you, right? And when you're honest with you, then you take the steps needed to change you in your life, right? Because that's all that matters. So that you can be happy, so that you can feel free, so that you don't have to be weighed down by bondage and childhood traumas and trauma after trauma after trauma. Because let me tell y'all this, guys. When I started therapy, I thought that the only thing that I was going to need therapy for was where my mental state was at, and because I had came from a domestic violence relationship. To me at the time, it was like, that's all I need. Like, I need you to help me get through this. And I started therapy, and then it's like, wait a minute. Like, girl, like you carrying some stuff. And it's like I thought that those things were resolved, and they're really not, right? I was thinking, hey, I wrote about it in my book. Hey, I did this. Like, I did that. I did this. Like, that's done. That is just done. Like, I'm not dealing with that childhood trauma anymore. And I learned that, yeah, girl, you still is. And more than that, when I was able to really talk to my therapist, it was like, okay, girl, like you're carrying trauma after trauma after trauma after trauma after trauma. You're 37, almost 38 years. Like you've been carrying trauma, right? And starting to go to therapy, talking, sharing, you know, um, releasing all of that. And it's like, I feel a little bit lighter now. You see what I'm saying? It's just a little lighter because now I've dealt with that. Now I find ways to deal with that, right? So the person that molested me from the ages of 8 to 16, 15, I'm sorry, ages 8 to 15, he's dead, right? And I haven't done any forgiving. Like I was just like, whatever, like they're gone. Like what do I need? What else do I need? Right? But I learned that I needed to still feel what I was feeling because my feelings are valid. Guys, please understand that. Your feelings are valid. Okay? If you're feeling them for a certain way. It's your job to figure out why you are feeling the way that you're feeling, which comes back to being honest with yourself, right? So you got to figure that out. I had to learn that there was so much that I was still carrying. And now that I'm starting to release, right? Now that I'm starting to talk, now that I'm starting to speak up, it's like, okay, it feels a little bit lighter. That weight that I was carrying before, I ain't got that no more, right? It's not as deep, it's not as heavy as it was. Is it still heavy? Like, good gracious, it's still heavy. Right? It's completely still heavy, but I can tell that things were taken off of it. The load is not as heavy anymore. So when I'm telling you to get your butt up and continue to fight for you, that is what I mean. Fight for you. If you need help, go get help. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. If you are big in the church, baby, it's okay to have Jesus and a therapist. Okay? Let's just go ahead and get that out. If you're having issues with that, you can have church and Jesus, and you can also have a therapist if it's needed. Okay. If you need to find something else, find ways that help you release. I can't sit here and say therapy is for everybody. I'm not going to say that. I think that everybody needs therapy. Absolutely. I mean, I think that everybody needs it. We all experience traumatic stuff, right? We all experience different things that's happening. Our lives shift daily, just about, right? Um, so is therapy something that I personally think that everybody needs? I think everybody should be talking to somebody. That's just me. I think the world would be a much better place if we all, you know what I'm saying? If we all like learn to sit down and talk to somebody, right? Rather than holding things in, rather than pretending and masking up, right? So listen, I want you to fight back. I want you to get up and I want you to push through. I am a living, like you see me here talking and breathing, right? So I am literally a living testimony that I understand how hard it is to get out that bed some mornings. Trust and believe. It was not that easy for me this morning. Okay. I understand how depression works. I understand how it looks. You know what I'm saying? I understand how it feels. I also understand how deep it can get very quickly, right? Very, very quickly. Um, but I want you to find ways to push past that. I want you to find ways to be honest with yourself. Baby, if you don't want to talk to someone, write your stuff down. Write it down. But let me tell you something. Don't reflect just on the negativity and the bad, right? So something that I had to do is I noticed that one of my journals, I went and got a new one, but my previous journal, when I was looking back through it, the last couple of months was just negative. It was just all bad stuff, just bad, just bad, right? And it was like, okay, girl, like we can't continue in this. Release yourself, of course, but we're going to put a spin to this. So when I get frustrated, right? I get frustrated, I get angry. I always have a notebook or a journal near me, right? And I'll just stop what I'm doing. I'll pick up and I'll write. Now I will release that negativity, right? I will release those negative thoughts, those negative feelings. And I'll give myself some time, to take some time. Like, hey, I've written that down. I wrote that down. This is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm feeling. And then later on, I go back and I fight those bad thoughts and those bad feelings. I combat them with positivity. So then I write something positive in. And then I can go back to the top and just cross that negativity out because I've already battled that. You see what I'm saying? You take something negative, if you have a negative thought, then you write a positive next to it and cross that negative out. Read that positive to yourself multiple times a day, daily, if needed. These are things that I have to do. These are things that I do, right? Um, I can't tell you that what I do is going to work for you because I don't know what you've been through or what you've experienced, right? But I can tell you that if you start doing the work, if you start fighting back, right? And you push no matter how hard it is, like you'll get there. Like we will get there. That's why on my posts I always say, you got it, I got it, we got this, right? Because I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. Okay. So listen, I don't talk too much and I ain't ate all day and I need to go pack my mouth. Okay. So listen, um, I want y'all to, I really want y'all to push and fight. You see what I'm saying? Like I promise you, if your girl can get up and fight, then you can too. And if you need somebody, if you need some encouragement, hit me up. Because it's a little bit of us out here that be texting each other and be like, girl, you got this? I know you got this. And we'd be like, hey, I'm not okay today. And then we just give some love. if you need a support system, hit me up. I'm not going to sit there and be like I can be full support, but I have people around me that are also supportive. So I'm not in the support thing by myself. You see what I'm saying? We check up on each other. We love up on each other. We encourage each other and we push each other. Okay. I'm gonna say this. I saw a quote. I saw a quote on Facebook. There's a page. I think it's a page. Yeah, it's a page, and it's called Mentally Misunderstood. A lot of people don't like it. I mean, a whole bunch of people like it, but I've shared some things from there and it gotten some negativity or whatnot. And that's because a lot of people don't understand, like they're in denial of their own mind half of the times. But I saw this quote that said, I'd rather hear about your depression than hear about your death. And I like broke out and cried because I understand now. You see what I'm saying? I understand. So listen, if you're struggling, I can't tell you that I'm gonna give you 100 because you know your girl in the storm as well. But baby, I'm gonna be there for you as much as I can. Like we're gonna support and encourage each other. You see what I'm saying? Because I would rather hear about your depression and what you're going through than to see that you're not here anymore. Okay? All right. And I'm sure that there's some people out there that can say the same about me. When I had my attempts, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people was hurt. Like, how could you do this? How could you leave us? And I'm like, well, technically, it really wasn't about you. It was all about me. But I understand. You see what I'm saying? I understand. So listen, join in. All right. Join me. Like, hit me up if you need someone to encourage you. If you want to join, some ladies that are basically, going through their storm and we're out here encouraging and loving on each other and empowering each other to keep fighting, then hit me up and I'll add you in. All right. So listen, guys. I hope that something, because I know sometimes I like to ramble, but I hope that something that I said clicked with you. I hope that something that I shared touched you, inspired you, or something. I do not want you to be out here stuck in your hurt. Okay. I don't want you out here stuck in your pain. I don't want you out here stuck in your mental. You see what I'm saying? Just like we go and I'm just gonna say this because I do not understand why people make this so hard. You go to the dentist when you have a toothache, right? Or something's happening with your teeth. Now, I would like to know the people that fall on their knees and pray that toothache away. I don't know how you do that, but whatever. Okay. I have a toothache. I'm going to get some medication. It's the same thing with our mental, guys. You know what I'm saying? If you feel like there's something happening, or if you feel like you're having trouble sleeping, if you feel like your mind is on 1,000 sometimes and half of the time it's negative, if you feel like you're getting angry for no reasons whatsoever, like somebody can walk in and be like, "Hey, girl," and you just flat out, it's okay. I had gotten to that point. Like I started clapping on people like fast. Just by saying, hey, I'd be like, I don't what you hating me for? You know what I'm saying? Like just stupid stuff. But I need y'all to understand that just like we go to the doctor to check our physical bodies, and sometimes if it ain't working, we take medication or we find other remedies to work. Just like we have to go to the dentist for our toothaches in our teeth. Just like we got to go to the eye doctor when the eyes ain't working right, right? Foot doctor, all these kind of doctors. Like us women, we have to go get checked, right? We got to spread them legs and let them get all up in there and make sure everything's fine. Baby, baby, if we can do that, right? If we can do all of that, then there's absolutely nothing wrong with making sure that this up here is right as well. Okay? Because this within itself is a whole powerful thing. Like when you actually start researching and learning the mind, like I'm shocked. Like I'm shocked at how powerful the mind is. And because I understand that the mind is very powerful and that certain things that are happen to the mind can shift your brain, right? Traumatic experience does a shift, chemically imbalanced. Like everything ain't working the way it was working. Like something is happening, right? There's a shift. So there's nothing wrong with going and getting that looked at. Check that. See if you need medication for that. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing. You see what I'm saying? Like nothing at all. Let me tell you something. I shared on my page once that when I first started therapy, like when I first got out of my domestic violence relationship, I was so broken and so just traumatized. I was a mess. You hear me? I was a mess because you have to understand, I was in a domestic violence relationship, and my one of my coping mechanisms at that time was drugs. And I don't have a problem with sharing that with people because it is what it is. Your girl ain't doing all that no more. So it's like, whatever. But I had gotten addicted to drugs, right? So when I left that situation, I left with physical scars. I left with mental and emotional scars. And I left with a whole addiction. You see what I'm saying? And I had to disconnect myself from that. Okay. Now, did I go through like certain things to rid myself of that addiction? No. Your girl completely cold turkeyed it by the grace of I don't even know. Like that was a whole battle within itself. You see what I'm saying? Clinging off of that addiction, like taking that out when I had been so accustomed to the drugs easing my pain. You know what I'm saying? Or just making me get high and sleep so I don't have to deal, right? And those for y'all nosy people, yes, your girl was hooked on meth at a time. Okay. So I came out and completely cold turkey that thing, but still battled with it. You know what I'm saying? There was still the withdrawals, the urges, all of that. And even when it came to my mental, like it was just bad. I had no excitement for life. I didn't care if I lived or died. Like it was just that deep, right? Um, but I shared that. And so when I went to therapy, when I first started therapy and I did my evaluation up to the front, like they prescribed me 7 medications, like off top. And I was just like, y'all tripping. I was like, y'all tripping. But in the beginning, I got depressed about it. I fought against it. But the thing about it was, like, I understood that I was having issues on so many areas because I'm recovering from drugs, right? Not only am I recovering from drugs, but I got a whole mental battle up in here. The self love is gone because now I have physical, scars on my body that wasn't there before, right? I was a mess. I was completely a mess. Um, and I looked at medication like it was just the worst thing ever because I was like, y'all ain't gonna have me out here medicated. Like I was just uneducated. You know what I'm saying? Uneducated in my feelings, all of that, right? And I did stop the medication. I did. But you know what? One thing that I am excited about is that I understand like where I'm at, right? This is what we're talking about when we're talking about fighting that battle, right? When you have to be honest with yourself. So in therapy yesterday, my therapist asked me, and she was like, "So I'm gonna ask you." She was like, "You haven't been taking medication for some time now." She was like, "Do you think that you need it?" And my first response was like, "No." I was like, "No, I don't need no medicine. No, nope, nope." She said, "Okay." And we continued through that therapy session. And at the end of it, I was like, you know what? I lied. I straight lied. I lied. I lied. I lied. I think I may want to try something just for a little bit. Like, let's try something and let's see if that works. And I had to be honest with myself. Like, girl, there's no, like, who cares who looks at you because you're taking medication for your mental health? Half of these people don't even take their mental health in consideration. So, why should you feel bad for having to take medication? And I had to ask myself that. Why are you feeling some type of way that you may have to take medication? This is for your health. I started suffering from seizures. So I have seizure medication to help me not have seizures, right? So I had to get out of that little ignorant, and I'm just gonna say it because I was just uneducated. I was just ignorant. Okay. I had to get out of that ignorant state and be like, you know what, girl? If you feel like you may need to try a different avenue, there's nothing wrong with that because this fight is personal. This fight is about you. uh, all the flying birds to everybody else that do not understand or have something negative to say, right? This is for you. And I had to tell myself that this thing, girl, this is for you. So if you need that, go get that. So Starting in 2 weeks, your girl is going to be on a different medication. I'm going to start taking certain medications to help me while I'm in this battle. You see what I'm saying? We got to do the work. We got to be honest and we got to do the work. Everything we can't continue to sit here and fight against because that creates a whole nother battle within itself, right? When you get to a point where you're being honest with yourself about where you stand right now, I'm not talking about where you want to be. I'm talking about being honest of where you are right now, like in this moment right now. If you feel like you're not okay, then it's totally fine to go seek help. Okay. And again, to those of you who feel some type of way about that, it's okay for you to have Jesus and a therapist. I'm just gonna say that because we got to get out of that whole stigma when it comes to mental health. All right. So listen, I'm gonna stop chatting because I get like real serious on topics of mental health and healing and rediscovering yourself because that's just me. I've always done authentically you with the magazine. My shows is always talking about being the best you, healing and being you and being fine with that. I used to be nervous that people wouldn't like this new Kia because I ain't the Kia that I was. The Kia that I used to be, y'all may have liked them posts, you may not like these, but I don't care, right? It's like when you stop being so concerned about what everybody else thinks and you're doing this for you, you are doing this for you. And at the end of the day, baby, that's all that matters. Okay? That's all that matters. So again, I'm gonna need you to get back up and I'm gonna need you to keep fighting for you. All right. This fight is personal and we need you. Okay. So I need you to get up and I need you to keep fighting and I need you to be the best you that you can absolutely be because that's all that matters. All right, that's all that matters. So listen, guys, I'm gonna stop talking because my food done got here, and your girl is like extremely hungry. I haven't eaten all day, so I'm about to be like totally greedy and fat. So I want y'all to have a good rest of your night. All right, and I will be back on tomorrow to run your ears because this is not a conversation that I'm gonna stop having. We're gonna continually talk about healing, rediscovering yourself, loving yourself, accepting yourself, okay? And I can talk about on those things because your girl is in her own little battle, all right? So just know that you ain't here out here by yourself, all right? So listen, guys, it's time for me to eat and binge on some TikTok before I do my exercise and yoga before bed. All right. So listen, guys, have an amazing night. I appreciate y'all that came on. I see the comments. Thank you so very much for commenting and being on. It's greatly, greatly appreciated. And I'll see y'all tomorrow. I'll be back on tomorrow. Yeah, I got some amazing things coming up, and I want y'all to know what I got going on just in case you want to jump on. All right. So, all right, guys, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Love you. Have a great night.